Hello, it's Debbie Gilbert from the Business Awards Show, and I'm also the founder of the Best Business Women Awards. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Janine Friston, who is the founder of the Female Business Network and also the Female Business Awards. So I'm talking to another award organizer today
Yay!
who shares the same philosophy as me about credible business awards, properly judged, and no voting. I love it. So
Yeah,
welcome, Janine.
thank you for having me.
And we met on LinkedIn quite
We
recently.
did.
Um,
Hmm.
and we've had a bit of a chat about all of the things that you do, because you do quite a lot. So let's start by talking about what made you set up the Female Business Network.
Okay, fabulous. I think as business owners, female business owners, we tend to do more than one thing, and we've got our fingers in lots of different pies and stuff like that. So, thanks for having me here first and foremost. And yeah, I think we do share quite a lot of common values and ideas about how awards and things should operate, which is fabulous. So I set the Female Business Network up about 4 years ago now, um, as a way of connecting women. I've been hosting Women in Business Network meetings since 2018, locally to where I am here in South Manchester. And then I think with COVID and the change, and I was loving the networking side. And I thought, do you know what? I can have more of an impact. I can bring more people together if I expanded it in some way. So that's where the Female Business Network came around. I just love bringing people together. I love bringing women people together, female business owners together, seeing those relationships form, seeing their confidence grow, their businesses grow, collaborations, all that sort of stuff. And that's what my passion is. That's what my energy and the vibes that I have when I see people connecting that would never have met each other if they hadn't been part of my world in some way. It's just amazing.
So you're just like a younger northern version of me. I love it.
Not that young, not that young.
Well, I think you might be a bit younger than me. I don't know. But anyway, so you then started the Female Business Awards. So let's talk a bit about your awards.
Yes. So as it was coming up to the first business birthday of the Female Business Network, I said to two of my business friends at the time, I want to do something to celebrate the fact that it's won and how it's grown and stuff like that. But we couldn't figure out what to do. And we'd had this idea for a number of years about having an awards and like a conference style thing for solopreneurs, people that work on their own, women in business to come together. And so we thought, why not just go for it? We had never really, I'd hosted like an online awards before in my previous business, but we'd never done sort of anything on this scale. So we thought, you know, what's the worst that could happen? So yeah, the to celebrate the first business birthday of the Female Business Network, the Female Business Festival, and then the Female Business Awards were created. And now we are coming up, this will be our fourth year now, for both of those events. And yeah, it's just gone from being a northwest small event in like a very small mansion house. We had it here in South Manchester the first year, to now a big hotel in Manchester, people from across the UK being nominated and attending, and it's just a really lovely evening. You know, it's an evening of genuine celebration with each other and for each other. There's no competition or anything like that. Everyone is genuinely
Mm.
happy to see each other succeed, which is just amazing.
That's great. So you also run a festival alongside your awards. And this year
Yes.
you're doing it online. So tell me a bit about that and what sort of things could people expect from that?
Yeah, so this is the first time we've done it online. Before it's been the festival during the day and then the awards in the evening, and people can choose to come to one or to both if they wanted to. Um, but we decided to split them this year. From an energy perspective for us, because running two big events in one day, running one is enough. And then last year we realised actually this is just that we could do so much more if we actually split them up. And we've moved it online. So the Female Business Festival Summer Summit is at the end of June this year.
Mm.
And it's a 3-day online summit with lots of guest speakers. People can come from everywhere, and that's the feedback that we had last year, that people wanted to come but it was too far, they couldn't have the time out of their business. They couldn't make it work in terms of getting to Manchester or whatever it was. So this year it's all online. 3 days worth of experts that we have carefully chosen who are experts in their field. So we are looking at how small business owners, solopreneurs can grow their business in a way that works for them, and giving them practical tips. It's not just a summit where you're going to sit there and listen to speakers talking at you. Each of the
Mm.
speakers will be given actionable tips that people can go away and implement into their business. And that's what we did in the in-person ones over the last couple of years. It's like, I don't want people just to sit there. I want them to have something tangible they can implement. So we've got speakers such as copywriters, sales page writers, sales process people, marketing, public speaking, social media, confidence, you name it, in every aspect of it. We've even got people talking about your style and your colour, and how that can bring you confidence when you're attending events, when you want to bring your business out, so it's just another way of just supporting women and getting women more confident to build their businesses. And that's what both the awards and the festival are about.
Amazing. So, Janine, you've clearly got a passion for supporting females. And obviously, this business started a few years ago. So, what were you doing before that? What did you bring from whatever it was you were doing into this new business that you set up a few years ago?
Yeah, so before that, my business was very much local to where I am here in South Manchester.
Mm.
And I'd set that up because I knew there was so much going on in my area, and yet you only knew about what was happening in your immediate town, not in the areas around. So that was really sharing. I had like a directory, and I shared blogs and events and information.
Okay.
And as part of that, I realized that actually I don't know anything about running a business. I'd been a call center manager before.
Mm.
And actually running a business is a bit different than running a call
Mm.
center in some ways. And so I needed to go out and find a network of people that were in
Mm.
the same situation as me. And so I started a Facebook group, invited women in business to come and join that. And then before I knew it, I had like 900 people in this local Facebook group. I was hosting events through there. I was hosting a local awards show online during COVID for businesses locally to where I was. And it just grew naturally. So, and I found that actually I had a passion and I guess, natural connection to bringing connections to other people. And
Yeah.
so this is where the Female Business Network came from. Is like, this is a side of the business that I had first that I really enjoyed and I was really good at, really loved. And so I thought, if I want to go all in on that side of the business, and that's where the Female Business Network came from. And then that's evolved into now the festival and the awards, and it's just a natural progression through that.
Mm.
And I just, like you say, when you find what you are passionate about, you can see my facelift. If you're watching it, you can see the energy. You can see this is what I love when I'm sort of mentoring startups and things like that as well. And people that come to my events, it's just like you can see when they're doing the right thing. When they're
Mm.
doing the right thing, their face lights up. They change their personalities. They change how they sit, how they look, how they feel. And I think that was what I found with starting my networking groups, and then the festival and the awards, is just seeing that impact that one connection or that one recognition from being shortlisted or being a finalist or a winner
Mm.
can have on people. As you all know from yours, it just feels amazing, and you feel like I've done something really good and positive for that one person. It's going to bring them joy and happiness to then deliver that in their day-to-day business going forward.
Definitely. And so, talk me through the Female Business Network. So, whereabouts are your meetings and what sort of format do you have?
Yeah, so thank you. So I've got a few different ways. So I've got online and in person. So I've got a couple of groups in Manchester and one in Cornwall. Um, and I've got an online version of that. So I've got two different versions. I've got an informal version where it's very conversational, and it's more about that relationship building and small groups. I tend to work more with introverts, and I say that I'm an introvert-friendly networking group.
Mm.
So I'm an introvert myself, even though I do get up and do the stage thing when it's the awards and stuff like that. I am very much an introvert. It takes me weeks to get over the awards at the end of the year. So they're very much small group networking. And now I've released started more industry specific networking as well. So they are again online and in Manchester. So mainly online in Northwest with a few things, but I'm looking to obviously expand into different areas of the UK as well.
What sort of industries are they covering?
Everything and anything, mainly service provider industries, although I do have some product based ones as well.
Mm. Mm. Let's talk a bit about introvert and networking, because you can talk about this from your own personal experience, because you know, the listeners to this podcast are generally entrepreneurs, and some of them might be sitting there thinking, oh, I really just do not want to go networking. In fact, there is a book that Andy Lapata wrote, and he put, I think the title of the book is something like, And Death Came Third, that networking is more feared than death itself. And as somebody who describes themselves as an introvert, talk me through the challenges that that presents to you. For example, walking into a room full of people you don't know, and how you've managed to cope with that.
Yeah, so I think that challenge, and from speaking to lots of people, speaking to someone earlier on actually who is an introvert, and she had exactly the same fears.
Mm.
That fear is a genuine fear, but everybody, whether or not you are confident, an extroverted person, or an introvert, but certainly introverts, we prefer not to put ourselves in that situation. It's not the fact that we're scared of it. We just prefer to be on our own in the nice peace and quiet. The energy it takes to go to an event or to recharge ourselves after an event is a lot more than an extroverted person would do. So it's not the fact that we can't do it, it's just the fact that we prefer not to. So for me, what I say to people when they are fearful of networking, whether or not you're an introvert or not, is I do the same for me when I go to a new event. I've hosted hundreds of events, but if I went to a new event where I didn't know anybody, the older Janine would still revert back to a certain amount of time because that's my personality trait. And so I just sort of say to myself, okay, just go and talk to one person.
Yeah,
Just
good.
go and speak to one person that you don't know, that you haven't met before, and just have a conversation. For me, I think people are fearful of networking because of the traditional style of networking, which was very suited, booted, about sales, corporate, and all those things that come to mind. I think people still have that thought that that is what networking is. But there are so many, great networking groups out there now that aren't like that, where it is about coming in, having a conversation. It's not about sales. And I always say for my groups, I don't want you to do a big pitch. It's not an elevator pitch. It's basically just let me know who you are and what you do. That's all I want to know. And then the rest of it we can find out through conversation and through building relationships. So I always sort of say to people, don't look at networking as a sales opportunity, particularly if you come to one of my groups, because that is definitely not what I'm about. But just look at it as you're going in there, you're going to go and just have some nice conversations with people. And also, it's not necessarily about who you speak to at that event, it's about who they know.
Yeah.
So I always say to networking is more about who the people there know in their network that can talk about you and know about you, as it is the people in that room. So
Mm.
actually just talking to one person or two people, you are there then in their minds,
Mm.
and they've got a network of thousands of people that they might be able to refer you through to, because you've not come across as salesy or pushy or anything. You've wanted to, and as an introvert, you say, how does it for an introvert? We love finding out about people. We love having those genuine conversations. And so just, we've had a great conversation before this one and stuff like that. This is how I love to network. I love to network one-to-one as well. I do lots of online networking this way. And so actually when I go to events, just having that one conversation means I have a more genuine conversation. It means I get to find out more about that person, and ask questions, or hopefully they'll ask questions to me about my business as well. But certainly, if people are worried about networking, it's choose a group that's right for you,
Mm.
and then look at it as one conversation and see what comes of it, and then you build your confidence from that way.
It's so true. Such good advice, because it's frightening for anyone going in a room full of people they don't know. But
It
I
is.
get, I get the feeling you'd make people feel very welcome when they come to your
I
event.
hope so. I hope so. What you see or what you hear is how I am. And even at the awards where, I am the compere and stuff like that, I'm just me. I am just a solopreneur who's doing something that she loves to do and wants to make sure everyone there is enjoying themselves. And so, I always say, like, I don't know how you feel about your awards, but I always say, for me, the awards event, it's a bit like getting married when you go to the wedding
Yeah.
breakfast or whatever. I actually don't speak to lots of people. I'm circling. I'm circling around the room, making sure that everybody else is okay and everyone's got what they need. And this is part of the reason why I'm so tired. I think afterwards, it's like I don't actually sit down and relax and have a lengthy conversation. Even at the end of it, when everyone's leaving, I'm still like, okay, we've got to pack up the room, we've got to do this. I'm in work mode for that whole
Oh,
evening.
it's exhausting. It's exhausting. I think I'm
Yeah,
always, well, last year we were still in the bar at 3 a.m. because there were people.
we were, yeah, myself and my partner Hazel and one or two others were there until like 2 o'clock. I think we got chucked out in the end.
Yeah, so you work with Hazel on this, and obviously Hazel isn't here today. So tell us a bit
No,
about Hazel so she doesn't feel left out.
I know, she's fabulous. She's in the Philippines at the moment. Um, so myself and Hazel on the outskirts, you think we were very different because she's very much an extrovert and confident and loud and everything, whereas I'm not. But I think actually that makes we work well. So Hazel runs a very successful social media agency. So she does social media management. And she's very much from a digital marketing background.
Mm.
And I'm from a customer service background. That was my role for 20 years before I started a business. So together, we sort of work really well. And, we met each other, I don't know, 5 years ago now or something. And just, we just meet someone and you just click. You think, even though we are different generally, we just click as people. We bring out the best of each other. We're not afraid to say what we think or ask a question. And particularly for me, as being an introvert, it's really important that I feel like that, because
Yeah.
introverts don't tend to ask questions if they're unsure. They'll just find it out on their own. Whereas, me and Hazel generally work well together.
So your events, your networking events that you run, are the in-person ones. What sort of time of day are they?
They are all family friendly ones. I don't do networking meetings where it's like 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and it wipes out a whole load of people that can go. So my networking meetings are either normally 9:30 in the morning, so time for people to get the school run out the way. And then in my online group, I also do a couple in the evenings as well. So I do a couple every month in the evenings, again, bedtime-ish or just after bedtime, so that
Um,
people that maybe want to
Talk
come
me
home.
through the format. So people turn up, let's say at 9:30. What's the format of your event?
So we always do intros, even if sometimes there's only 4 or 5 people and they know each other quite well. I always do an intro because it's like you need to keep practicing
Mm.
and being ready to talk about your business whenever you are asked to be able to talk about it, even in the queue in the
Mm.
supermarket. If someone asks you what you do, you need to be ready to say it. So we always do intros. I always start off with a positive aspect. So I always ask people what their wins are. I don't want to start off with by saying what issues have you got, what are you worried about, or anything. Let's start the meeting off on a positive note. Sometimes we'll have a speaker, sometimes we'll have a topic of conversation, things that are going on or things that people have asked me about that we can talk about. As other times it'll be just a discussion. So like now in March, some of the ones now will be around, okay, so how you've got on in quarter one, what are your goals for quarter two, what do you need to be able to do that, how are you going to do that? So they're very much led by the group that's there. And it's just more of a conversation. We get to know each other. And the good thing about online ones is that although there's like 60 people in the group, sometimes there's only 7 or 8 people on the call. So actually people do get to grow their audience, but still in that small group environment. So it doesn't feel as daunting to people,
Yeah.
which is fabulous. So they're very much informal, but professional still.
Mm.
And it's about what that group needs to talk about at that time, or support that they need, not what I think they need as the host. It's not my event, I'm facilitating it. That's the way that I look at it. People that are there need to, yes, I want to help them along the way, and I'll make sure there's a general structure, but they're attending because they want to build their audience, they want to build their businesses.
Mm.
And so my role is to make sure that happens.
So what areas of South Manchester are they?
Sale in South Manchester, and also in Whitefield in North Manchester, and
Hmm.
then Manchester City Centre is starting next week as we record this.
And then how did you get a group in Cornwall? It's a long way off.
I know, very random. Well, actually, I am originally from Cornwall, so all my
Oh,
family still live in Cornwall, and so obviously I go down there 5 or 6 times a year or whatever. And I think someone said to me, you come down here all the time, and yet you've never run an event down here. Why not? You should merge the two together. So I think last year I ran a couple of events, just ad hoc events, and they were a success. And now I've got someone running started running some events down there in my local town under the FBM banner, which is lovely.
whereabouts in Cornwall?
About in between Newquay and St Ives, so inland and not on the coast, in between Newquay and St Ives,
I
so
did
quite a
think
way down.
I did think you didn't have a northern accent, and I was thinking, where is our accent from? But it is a little bit hybrid. You can hear a little bit of a northern twang there somewhere.
I think, yeah, I know. When I listen to myself back, from the when I listen to this
Yeah.
podcast back,
You'll
I'll
be
be
like,
like, oh my God, that's the Cornish Janine, and this is the Manchester Janine, and I don't know who I am most days. Depends on who
oh.
I'm with.
Okay, so for our listeners, let's tell them a few dates. So your awards close when? When is your closing
So
date?
yes, yeah, so nominations and applications, you can either nominate other people or you can apply for yourself. Close on the 16th of May.
And the great thing with your awards is that if someone nominates somebody and they want to know who's nominated them, you will tell them, which I love.
Yes, we will. Yeah, we will always go back to the person that's nominated first, just to make sure that they are okay with that. But the people that are in my world are generally nice people, and they're not going to say no. But yeah, we certainly won't say, we can't do it. We'll say, let me just double check that they're okay with that one. And if they don't want to proceed at any point, they can withdraw at that point as well. So all nominations or applications are done by genuine people that we can track through. They've
Yeah,
got to put an email address in, they've got to put their contact details in, so we can track who is nominating people if we need to from
brilliant.
there.
Love that. And then when do you announce roughly your finalist list, or how does it work? Is this obviously the closing date happens? Perhaps we should talk a bit about the judging process because you have a few stages of your judging, don't you?
Yeah, we do. So the closing date is the 16th of May. And then for round about the 27th of June is when we'll announce the shortlist.
Hmm.
So what we'll be doing in between that time is making sure that everyone that's been nominated or has applied is a genuine business,
Hmm.
deserves to be in that category, and just double check all their details are correct and accurate for what they've been nominated for. And then we'll announce the shortlisted on the 27th of June.
Hmm.
And then the next steps from there is that we go to all the shortlist people and ask them to send us more information. So we'll
Hmm.
ask them to send us more information around their business, what they're looking to achieve, what their biggest achievements have been, what winning that award would mean to them, all that sort of stuff. So a bit more meat
Mm.
behind the bones of their application. And that's what we then use to decide on the winners. We look at all that information as well as the reviews, the testimonials, their activity, the community aspect, if we can see that they've got the passion and energy through the information they've sent
Mm.
to us, all that sort of stuff. And we've got a few people that we use as well as ourselves. We've got previous winners, we've got business owners, we've got sponsors for the awards. So all of that then goes out to different people to judge independently from each other. So
Yeah.
we're not comparing notes or anything like that. And then everything is tallied together. And we're hoping that all finalists will be notified by the end of July.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. And
So it's a
then
quick turnaround.
that is a very quick turnaround. That's impressive. And then the final is on the 14th of November at the Marriott, the Victoria Marriott.
Yes.
So tell us about
Victoria
that.
and Albert, yeah, no, B&A in Manchester. We've had it here. This will be our third time at the hotel. So again, it's a nice size room without being too big.
Mm,
It's a nice size room that me as the host can get around and make sure everyone's comfortable, but it's big enough that it feels prestigious and it feels lovely, but it still feels welcoming to people at the same time. So yeah, so the awards are the 14th of November.
brilliant.
And what we do say is that if you are a finalist, you do need to come to the awards
Yeah.
ceremony. The first year we did it, we didn't do that, or we weren't aware. And we
Mm,
had, there's nothing worse, I don't think, than being nominated for an award or in the final, and you spent all that money, that time, that energy, you're excited to go to an award system, and actually the winner just doesn't turn up.
I know. I know.
So, and that's not that. Yeah, it's just like I don't know why people think it's okay to accept an award when you're not going to be there, because
I
that's
know.
not. There's nothing worse than that. So
A
we
bit
do
of a
say
bugbear of
anyone.
mine. Yeah.
Yeah, but some people don't think that way, do they? Unfortunately, Debbie. So, but we do say that if you are a finalist, to
You-
even to win the award, you needed to have
Yeah.
be coming to the
Which is
gala event itself.
And the dates for the online summit, what are they?
24th, 25th, and 26th of June, so end of June.
And I saw the price on the website. I thought, my goodness, that is such a bargain. 47
Yeah,
pounds.
and £47 for all 3 days. Plus, we've also got, a bit like yourself, we've also got a community of previous attendees that anyone that comes can then be part of the online community and continue those networking and connections and support and stuff like that. And we want everyone to, with us, is everyone's a VIP. Sometimes with like awards or summits and things, you get a certain amount with this ticket and a certain amount with that ticket. It's like one price, everyone's treated the same, everyone's a VIP, everyone gets a goodie bag at the awards and all that sort of stuff. There's no, all that sort of thing. So we keep it lovely.
It sounds amazing, and it's been lovely chatting to you today. So thank you for
Yeah,
joining
sounds you.
me.
No, thank
Um,
you for having me. I've loved it.
oh, it's been great. It's been great talking to you, and I'm more than happy to share your awards with our audiences because I'm all about credible awards and shouting from the rooftops about the opportunities that are out there for people. I think it's
Yeah,
great what you're doing, and we
thank you.
make sure, thank you. We will make sure Janine's details are in the show notes on the website for the podcast, and they will also be on YouTube in the description. So if you're interested in her awards, her summits, her networking, goodness me,
Just
Cornwall, straight
just
up
get
to
in touch.
Manchester, just get in touch and get in
Yeah,
contact with Janine for more details. So thank you for joining me today. I wish you well. We had
thank
a
you.
chat before the podcast, and I said Janine has to enter the Best Business Women Awards this year for Best Networker, without a doubt. You definitely deserve some recognition for all your hard work that you've done.
Thank you.
So hopefully I will see you somewhere in person,
I
IRL.
know that'd be lovely. I know exactly. Yeah, but thank you so much for inviting me
Oh,
on and stuff. I've loved it. I think, like I say, when you do something you enjoy doing, you can just chat to anybody about it, and that's where you know that you're doing the right thing. And this is something that I'm super passionate about, as you are, I know
yeah.
from speaking to you. And it's always nice to connect with people that are doing something similar, where you can learn, where you can share, you can build that connection and help each other out as well. Because I think, from your awards as well, it's just like the more people that can get that recognition and that confidence and that credibility and give them that boost, the better it is.
What a great thing to end on. Thank you, Janine.
Thank you.